Huddle time. Chad Prinky here, as always, along with my good friend, producer, co-host extraordinaire, Stacey.
Stop.
Stacey.
Hey, how do you want us to install this water heater? And my coworker was like, I don't know, install the water heater. Like, why are you even asking me? He's like, well, I don't know if you know, but what you designed, it can't physically fit through the front door of this building.
My class is only 40 minutes. So we have to get this done in 40 minutes. You have to clean up in 40 minutes. And then it also, when you use the miter saw, a lot of kids are scared of the miter saw, and you just see the difference in their confidence when they come in here compared to when they leave. They're excited.
Be announcing a new county that's going to join us in Maryland, so we continue to spread it. And I'll say my peers across the country are starting to take this and adopt this at their local IEC chapters.
Either AI assistant tools, you have AI master builder tools, and then you have kind of a bit of both that are 1 foot in BIM, in current processes, and 1 foot in AI.
Said, Brett, in life, opportunity meets you at your level of preparation.
She said, here's the keys, go forth and do great things.
Good morning. It is morning huddle time. Chad Prinky here, along with Stacey Holzinger. Stacey, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Good morning. I'm excited for today because it's my favorite topic.
I'm excited too. I'm gonna, like I said last week, I'm gonna have my notepad out. I'm gonna be learning from you guys. I'll share a little bit of what I do along the way, but I'm when it comes to marketing, more of a student compared to you.
Yeah, it'll be fun to talk about. So we have Matt Graves joining us today from Construction Yeti, and Jonathan from Customer Growth.
Yep.
And they're going to talk to us about the success of their Instagram channels, their e-newsletters, and strategies for social growth.
Can't wait. That's going to be exciting stuff. But before we do that,
yeah,
Stacey, I was wondering on your side, I'm pretty sure your football team is no longer in contention. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Did that just happen, or what's the team? Am I right in assuming it's the
Eagles?
Yeah,
yes, right. We're opposites.
Yeah, different sides of the state.
Yeah.
Steelers are also out. I got to be honest. I was just if I was an Eagles fan, I'd be like, what happened? As a Steelers fan, I was like, how do we even get in? So it's a totally different feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different feeling.
Yeah. Did you see the I forget his name, the other Kelsey brother celebrating for his brother?
Awesome. Topless. Yeah.
He's a character. Well, they both are.
They both are, yeah. No, they seem like fun guys. I don't know about good guys. I don't have opinions there. I just I don't pay a close
like a fun family.
Yeah, it does. All right. Well, good. Let's. I could talk football for a long time, and I'm going to bring on somebody who's going to be wearing a. Geez, that's the wrong team too. Shoot. Matt, it's good to see you. Jonathan, good to see you guys. So let's do a quick intro for each of you. Kind of talk about each of your businesses and backgrounds in marketing, kind of thing. I'll start with Matt.
Yeah, so I had this Texans shirt picked out last week. I was like, you offered me from Baltimore. I was like, oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. And then, so here we are, whatever. No, they had a good season though. So
they did have a good season. And like I said, a bright future, man. That's a lot of things to be excited about if you're a Texans fan looking into 2024.
100%. Yeah. So no, Construction Yeti, it's in the process of being built out into a kind of a full-blown media outlet. Right now I've got a weekly newsletter that runs through Substack, and we've got a podcast. Me and Kyle Grandel started doing the CM Mentors podcast last year, and we took a break through the holidays, and we're about to relaunch it. I guess call it season 2. But really the vision behind all of this is to be really want it to be like the resource for people that are managing construction projects and or managing construction companies. There's kind of a few pillars where I'm trying to really focus. One is on digital marketing. Like construction industry is scared of the internet and scared of social media, just in general. One is training and mentoring and all that. Like people just get thrown to the fire. And one is like being people first in everything you do. And the other one's kind of the technology and the tools, but doing all of that, but really like construction isn't built by the managers in the offices. It's built by the people out in the field swinging the hammers and like installing the pipe and stuff. So just that's kind of the vision of the whole thing anyway.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. That's exciting. I checking out your stuff. I can see there's this kind of combination of content that you're writing and maybe some content that you're curating and that you're seeing from other places. I think it's a great idea of what you're doing. It's cool. So keep it up.
Appreciate it. We got to keep it fun at all times too. So everything's got memes and GIFs and that sort of stuff in it. So
it's an area, man. Like I swear, I just don't know how to do fun. I need a lot of help with that.
I feel like I don't know anything other than that. So
well, it's good.
Which is good because I think this industry is afraid to do fun. They want to be so professional all the time when content really should be, informative, entertaining, engaging, and inspiring. So
until you go out on the job site and everyone's always joking around having fun. So
totally. Yeah. That's the thing. It's one of the most fun group of people.
Yeah.
It's such a great point. Jonathan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback on what you guys were talking about earlier. So I'm a Seahawks fan myself. I'm here in the Pacific Northwest. We just lost a longtime head coach in Pete Carroll. Hopefully we find our next 20-year, plus head coach. I love football. That's my favorite sport. So, and Texans had a great season. Yeah. And D'Amico Ryans took a great gamble on both with CJ Stroud and Will Anderson. So, but enough about that. So I love football. So I just like you, Chad. Just like you, Chad.
Man, you're not going to leave me out of this freaking football conversation. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's what Jonathan was thinking.
Oh yeah, great. No, for sure. Because who knows? Maybe a morning huddle could just turn to like morning football.
Well, let's do it.
Very quick.
Let's do that.
Tuesday morning quarterback. Let's go.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Stacey's like, look, I like it. I don't love it. Yeah.
I like hockey, baseball, but football is
not your thing. Yeah.
No.
Keep going, Jonathan. Tell us your story.
Yeah. So, was formerly an in-house marketer for a commercial contractor here in Washington back in 2018. And I was there for a few years, and eventually during the start of the pandemic, which I think is probably, I don't recommend anybody start their full-time business in that environment, but I did. I decided to take a leap and eventually built what's now Customer Growth, basically social media only agency working with commercial contractors throughout the states, helping them build their brand online, just obviously being able to reshape and grow their brand and brand perception, brand awareness, anything that has to do with their brand. Because as you guys know, the marketing function is more of a brand play than it is of a lead gen or kind of customer acquisition play. So yeah, helping commercial contractors do that. And then more recently, actually in September, I launched Construction Marketers, which my goal there is to be able to educate people in the industry how to create more, better, consistent content. Whether you're a contractor yourself and want to improve the content you're posting yourself, or whether you're a project engineer or superintendent or just somebody who just wants to learn more about marketing. And surprisingly enough, my initial plan was to just focus, okay, maybe there's other marketers in the industry who want to learn more about marketing. And that's true. But in the same token, like there's a lot of project executives, managers, engineers, superintendents, field engineers, all these titles, and even executives who are like, hey, I want to learn more about this marketing stuff. And so I definitely notice that there's a huge interest within the industry, not just marketing specific roles, but just other roles within the industry who want to learn more. And so my goal is to be able to dissect and like unpack and deconstruct my process and what I learned along the way, whether it's through my own journey or even to studying some of the biggest creators in other industries, and trying to reverse engineer some of their strategies and how it, may apply to construction. So,
awesome. All right, cool. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'll hype up Jonathan. His stuff's great. He's putting out really great content, and I don't know how he's doing it on all the social platforms. So go follow him. It's awesome stuff.
Thanks, man.
Nice. You're in good company, Jonathan, with Stacey and I on businesses that were created mid-pandemic. I'm a February 21 guy myself. Stacy, I think, what were you? Summer 21?
Yeah, pretty much is when I kicked off. Yeah, I
Along
started
those
in
lines.
January, but
Oddly, I do recommend it, but that's a different topic for a different day.
I was gonna say I was a little
Worked out
earlier. I was May 2020.
Yeah, got it. That was when everybody was like, "This might be a zombie apocalypse."
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So that's
Yeah, we
like
weren't
2 months
sure.
fresh.
True. It's true. So Stacy, I want to really lean on you here to be the interviewer for these guys, and I'll obviously be listening, taking notes, and chiming in. But can I hand you
Yeah.
the wheel?
Yeah, sure. So let's start with Matt. I have a couple questions.
Mhm.
I have a lot of clients that want to explore creating an e-newsletter, right?
Okay.
And most of the time I find they don't have the time and resources because they're smaller contractors. They don't have an in-house marketing department, or they don't have that go-to person to work with the marketing consultant to create good content for their e-newsletter. So do you have any advice on that? Or would you suggest that they maybe try to establish thought pieces and well-established newsletters like yourself and get their name out there that way?
I would probably go that latter route. And what I mean by that is, like, if you're a contractor, like, what's your goal with it, right? Are you looking to, is it for business development, or is it for like talent acquisition, those sort of stuff, trying to get your name out there, get your culture out there? I'll tell you firsthand, it's a lot of work building up a subscriber base for a newsletter. And if you're a smaller company, like a regional company, like you're going to spend a lot of time spinning your wheels trying to build up an audience.
Mhm.
I would go where the audience is. Go to the social medias, go to LinkedIn. Get really familiar with LinkedIn. Post. There's people there already. You're not having to pull them away to go somewhere else, or go to like other outlets, like other newsletters, and like where the people already are. I would spend a lot of time creating your voice and creating what you're actually saying versus actually having to go build something from scratch.
Yeah,
So.
that's pretty solid advice. So you also have a very successful Instagram page. Can you tell us about that? Because we also have contractors that are like, well, I don't think that we need to be on Instagram. I don't think there's many skilled trades professionals on there. Or what would we even, why would we highlight our business on Instagram?
Yeah, the Instagram just kind of got real silly real fast. It blew up over the last few months. It just, in like 4 months, I hit like 20,000 subscribers. And really, I hadn't really played with it a whole lot. Kind of when I started the newsletter, it's free, but I had to quote how to sell it. So I went to LinkedIn. I started posting a lot more on LinkedIn, and then I kind of fell into just like the LinkedIn circle, and like oh man, this is a really cool platform. I didn't really do anything on Instagram, and so I started using Instagram a little bit more, and I post a couple like the podcast clips over there and that sort of stuff, and then didn't get a whole lot of traction until I started making these little short meme videos. And what I found, at least for my brand and what I'm trying to do, is I can make like a little, short little 10-second, 15-second, 20-second meme video and poke fun at an issue, and then use the actual, the text part, the caption part, and really like, let's do a deep dive on the issue. Let's talk about the issue. In the comments, let's expand on the issue. And so we kind of catch people's attention that way. But what I've really found through all this is LinkedIn is generally, I call it like the white collar, like the professional, the project managers, the business owners, that sort of stuff. Instagram is like the blue collar, the tradesmen, like the guys out in the field. It's huge on that. I've definitely seen a divide. And so there's definitely people there. I mean, just in like 4 months, like it's kind of went crazy. I've actually got people that I know are sending me screenshots of people that they know are sending them my videos and circling back to me. So it's definitely a cool place. You can't attack it with the same mindset of like, if you're growing on LinkedIn, kind of that same thing, you've got to kind of tailor the message a little bit differently. But
what do you think causes the divide? Like, why do skilled trades prefer Instagram, do you think?
I think it's, for one, it's not a professional network, right? It's like, and you can kind of like hide behind your alter ego or your screen name or something like that too. Because I mean, there's some trolls on there. There's less trolls on LinkedIn, more trolls there. It's more of a fun platform, right? There's all kinds of media on there. I'm not saying like the project managers and stuff aren't on there, but I've kind of seen a divide, at least in the people who kind of interact with what I'm doing. And maybe I'm like attracting those people with like the memes and stuff, and I'm directly talking to them. I posted videos of like superintendents not getting able to pay time off, right, because of this, that, and the other, and like it really resonates with people. So if you're really talking to them directly, I do think with the right strategy and stuff like that, Instagram can be a really, really cool place to be.
I've noticed there's a lot of, I would say, skilled trades influencers on Instagram, where I'm thinking that they probably like the platform better because they get to show their skills in videos and photos and things like that, hands-on learning. Is there anybody you would recommend to follow on Instagram? Any influencers in the trade? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, I mean, there's a few good ones. There's like I think it's That Tile Chick. She's really good. She posts a lot of tile stuff. I'm talking about tradespeople. There's this guy. I want to meet more of these people. There's a guy called Slim Brick. He does a lot of stuff. He does like masonry work. I know I'm forgetting like 100 other people that I follow, but like there's a lot of really good trades, like you said, like I guess trades influencers, but actually are posting. They post funny stuff. They post relatable stuff. They post like actual tips of their trade. Like they're actually installing it. They'll talk about how they're doing this or doing that. And like, I'm not a tradesman. I came through the project management route. And so like, just like watching this stuff, like, you kind of learn a little bit, a little deeper insights of like, oh man, like there's a little bit more to laying brick than I thought,
Yeah. It's a good learning channel too for that stuff.
And I'm sorry to ask a really, really basic question. Please don't take any more than 20 or 30 seconds on this. But when you said you were talking about this term meme, and I generally vaguely know that it's like maybe a picture with a subtitle, but I don't know what else a meme might be. What is a meme per se?
I think Jonathan to give a proper definition, probably. It's became. I think it started as a picture with a caption, essentially, but then it's ran wild in the internet. I mean, you've got like meme, like I'm making quote meme videos, and what they are is really like it's a background, but it's got like a funny movie clip or something laid over top of it with the caption, how like something relates to like the construction industry. But like it's went wild, like GameStop and all those things were meme stocks. Like it's just kind of a. I don't know. Jonathan may have a better definition of what it is in the lexicon of the world, but anyway.
No, well, for me, honestly, I feel like in general, memes are probably like the biggest indicators on where culture is going, and that's why I think they just pop off. Is mainly because like whether it's a meme video or image, or I think just like the idea of like memeing on social media is actually an incredibly like you have to be really self-aware. You have to know a lot of it's weird because you would think it would be like a simple thing you can do, but very few people are actually good at creating memes. I've seen a lot more memes that aren't great than that are.
So Jonathan, sorry, back to the 20-second answer if I can. What is a meme?
Like an image and a caption, I guess, that's poking fun at a particular.
I'm gonna Google it. Y'all keep talking.
Yeah.
That's how I.
But to what Jonathan was saying, I've seen a lot of people try to make meme videos and they try to copy my style. And like I've told them exactly this is how I do it. I use this tool and everything else. But like if you don't have a deep understanding of the problems and stuff, like I'll get videos that'll pop off on Instagram and get millions of views and like thousands of comments. And my wife's like, I don't get it. Like this is dumb. But like it's just because you don't understand like the underlying thing anyway.
So it's an image, video, piece of text, etc., typically humorous in nature.
Yes.
It is copied and spread rapidly by internet users, often with slight variations.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's a good definition. I don't know if somebody were to ask me if that's a meme. Like, yeah, I would say yeah, but like, I feel like memes are you know what it is when you see it. Like,
but it's also got the internet. It's got the internet virality behind it too.
Yeah.
Like when GameStop and all those were meme stocks, it's because like Reddit blew them up, and so there's an internet aspect to it as well.
I definitely love the meme philosophy. Us just kind of diving into the memeing sides of social media. So.
We're gonna have to set aside just alcohol and meme discussion. That'll maybe
and
help.
Football.
It might loosen me up. I don't know. I find the whole thing jarring.
Pick back up after lunch or what?
Well, let's move on to creating content with Jonathan here. We were talking about producing ideas and trying to manage your time and social calendar to actually schedule those posts, and you do a great job at that. Can you share some tips on, how you generate ideas, how you schedule them out so they're consistent?
Yeah, so obviously I have a different strategy for myself than I do for my contractors, the companies I work with, because obviously every company is unique and they have their own device strategy for themselves. I would say for me, and this is like the technical side of like scheduling and all that sort of stuff, I could definitely go into that. But for me, the way I've been looking at it or considering it lately is like how typically this has at least been true for me is the quality of the inputs I have coming in, like content I'm consuming, all that sort of stuff, the exposure I have to just new ideas, new content typically dictates the quality of output, meaning the content that's coming out. And so for me, my biggest thing is when I'm not creating content is I'm honestly studying and researching and seeing other industries, other creators, and trying to just like get new inspiration for new ideas. Because for me, I realize if I just focus on construction specifically, there's a tendency to kind of become what the industry already is. And as you guys know, from a marketing perspective, the construction industry isn't spearheading the way for innovation or new ideas, unfortunately, from a marketing perspective. And so I'm like, how do I look at other creators? How do I look at other industries that are beginning to implement that? And so for me, from that standpoint, I'm like, okay, this is a good idea, or this has legs. How do I spin this for construction now? How do I leverage? Maybe it's the format, maybe it's the style, maybe it's the topic that it's that's being spoken about. And how do I flip it to construction? And so that's kind of one step of the equation for me to get new ideas. The other thing though is I think it helps to be an incredibly opinionated person, and that can also be to my detriment. But I have opinions about everything, and so my thing is I have a notes file on my phone where it's called construction content ideas, and literally anytime I see a video or I'm scrolling through LinkedIn or I have a conversation with a client or a networking call, and I'm like, there's some sort of pain point or something interesting about what was said or written or whatever, I'll write that down and literally just like continue to save and jot down. So right now I have a lot of ideas in there, but I'm constantly like, I want to have like my ears open to be able to hear, okay, what are people talking about? What matters? And what actually gets me to be like, oh, I have an opinion about that. And then from there, I'll save it. Obviously I won't write right away because I'll batch my content. I'll sit down to create the content for the week. But I think that's the biggest thing I would honestly just encourage, whether it's contractors, individuals in the industry, is like, hey, what are your inputs? Like, and how do you get exposure to new markets, industries, new creative formats, new creators, things like that? And then also to how are you beginning to store or save the ideas you have about the industry? Because I think whether it's an actual company brand, trying to generate content for that, or even to what we were talking about before we hit record with Chad, like thought leadership. What are your opinions? What are your thoughts on about this topic? And I think in general, I've realized, and I basically kind of reverse engineer when you think of like TV, like the most popular channels, which I don't watch TV at all, but I know for the people that do watch TV is either going to be like news, politics, or business. And the reason for that is because all of that's very opinionated based. People are sharing their hot takes, their opinions, agree, disagree. And I think naturally as human beings, we're very drawn to that. So it's like, how do you also leverage that into your own thoughts and perspectives on and opinions on the construction industry at large? So I would say that that's kind of how I go about generating new ideas. As far as the mechanics and technical aspects for scheduling, I use LinkedIn. I use their scheduler for because I only post content on LinkedIn for my company content. However, construction marketers, I've just been throwing them on all social media platforms because I have clips that I create from all my YouTube videos that I have, and just to have something out there. Eventually, I may figure out a full blown strategy for each of them, but I'm like, okay, let me just at least have something out there in the meantime. And yeah,
the LinkedIn scheduling, I think that's only been out for like a year or so, and a lot of people don't even know that you can do that now. So you can definitely schedule your posts and have a month, or 2 months worth of content ready to go, and you don't have to think about it. So I think that is a great feature that they finally added on. You talked a lot about your, personal brand and how to do posts for your personal brand, or help like project managers or executives or business owners post personally. But how do you collaborate with your contractors, and how do you generate that content? I know me and you talked off camera about the struggles of trying to get that content from clients, and communication needs to improve, and photos and videos and things like that. Can you walk us through like some examples of great partnerships on how to generate better content for your business
Yeah.
pages?
Yeah. So there's a direct correlation between executive involvement, engagement, and contribution, and creating great quality content. So I have a few content or clients who are a little bit more hands off, and we can still create great content, but just the quality of the specificity on what's going on in the company is a lot better when there's, like I said, executive buy-in, engagement, and contribution. And so with that said, though, like let's assume I'm, with one of my clients who, is very involved and engaged. My goal as a service provider, a social media agency, is to be able to extract more of like, hey, how are you thinking about your business? What's the most mission critical thing right now? What are you guys talking internally about leadership? How is the culture? Where is my goal is like holistically as it relates to the company. Where are you going? How do I capture that, the language, the perspective, the leadership that they're showcasing in their company? And then how does that inspire content for social media? Because that's my goal, is not to create content and create their brand. No, they already have a brand themselves. My goal is, how do I extract what's in the executive's mind and then have that inspire what the actual content that we'll be talking about. So, hey, maybe there's a specific topic. Recently, they've been talking about safety. Maybe they've been talking about culture. Maybe they've been talking about communication. Maybe they've been really focused on improving processes. My goal is like, okay, what's the most mission critical thing, and how do we continue to refine and build messaging and content around that? And so obviously there's other elements. For me, I have a 3-bucket method that I do with all contractors. I'll post about projects, people, and purpose. And then there's a lot of verticals within those. But the purpose side, just to add a little bit more context, that's typically, content around like mission, vision, culture, core values, all that sort of stuff. And so it's like, how do we paint this holistic photo? Because I'm sure, as you guys have all scrolled LinkedIn or social media at any point, there are the project only contractors out there where they only post projects. Hey, here's our awarded projects, here's our in progress projects, and here are completed projects, and that's it. But then there are other contractors who over-index on people, which I actually think is a better route to go. And so my goal is, based on the framework that I use, those 3 kind of pillars, as well as what the executive or what the leadership team is conveying to me in our monthly strategy calls. How do we devise the right strategy and plan of action and content calendar for that next month? And so for me, even too, with one of the things you had mentioned, Stacy, kind of saying scheduling out content for a month or two. My goal is actually, I only give myself a 2-week buffer for scheduling out content, and I'll create content on a weekly basis, just because things can change, things can shift, and I like having the flexibility to change things in an instance. Because I've done it in the past where I'll schedule a full month of content, and then the contractor's like, hey, can we change this? And I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm just having to and so I just like that flexibility now. So yeah, hopefully that's able to answer your question as far as kind of the overall strategy, how I go with contractors.
Yeah, our services overlap, so there's so much relatability there. Same thing when I first started my business, I tried to schedule things out ahead of time, but the construction industry moves so quickly and things change, especially with projects, and things get rescheduled and milestones and all that stuff. So yeah, we usually meet on a weekly basis as well to generate some content. My keyword for this year is collaboration. I've noticed, I've worked with a mechanical contractor for 12, 13 years, and now I'm in my own business working with various trades. And I've noticed the most successful social pages all surround on collaboration, and people need to take advantage of, if you have a business development professional that works in that organization, make sure they're working with your marketing team. We had Taylor and Ronnie on here and did a whole conversation on that, and how they both meet internally weekly to generate content, because your BD team is talking directly to your customers and they have to relay that information. The same with your sales team. I'm working with an HVAC manufacturer's rep right now, and they recently hired a sales guy that talks to me weekly, so I know exactly what products are on the market, new products, or plumbing, HVAC, steam products that are the customers are talking about, or what trainings they need. That is huge. So we're not just guessing now. We have an internal person, sales team. So sales team or BD really should be partnering with your marketing professional, whether it's a consultant or someone internally. You have to have those fluid conversations. And then just any other things that you want, any other trinkets, I guess, that you could tell us about LinkedIn, any social platforms that most people don't take advantage of that should be. Like, for example, you had said you're the first person to post it, that if you get that premium account, you can now have a customization. So every time you post, they could go to your website, or you can direct them to other channels. Is there any other flashy new items on this social thing that people should be paying attention to? And Matt, if you know of anything on Instagram, or any channels that you saw pop up.
Yeah, so there's no tools as far as from my end. Honestly, I actually just made a post last week about this, where I instead of like focusing on what tools can improve the process for you creating content, is like, how do you actually begin to like devise the plan of like, okay, what is it that I'm going to post about? What actually resonates? How do I continue to improve what I'm doing? I think the biggest overlooked thing, which is what I posted about yesterday, is the idea of like a construction brand ambassador. I think in general, I believe that every executive for any commercial contractor, any construction company in general, should be the face of their company. However, I know that some are more private, some like to not put themselves out there as much. But my biggest thing, especially as it relates to the pool of talent that we're all competing for, or that all contractors are competing for, as well as trying to get market share, trying to differentiate themselves from contractors, I think having a CEO-led personal brand is honestly one of the biggest advantages that any commercial contractor can have. And the example I have for this is although he's not directly in construction, he's in the blue collar space. There's a company called Turner Mining Group, and Keaton Turner is the founder of that company. And he literally made a post, I think a week or two ago, and he said in 2023, they had one application every 45 minutes last year. As a result of him building the brand, specifically his personal brand. Wow. He posts a lot of content. And for me, like when he created, like, he obviously, that was his headline. We had one application every 45 minutes to their company, but literally when he began to like unpack it, he literally is playing a completely different game, because he knows that fighting for the same pool of talent and attention and all these sort of things is going to be the top priority list for any executive. Right. And so for me, I'm like, I definitely see it's still a blue ocean, as in like there's still a lot of space for a lot of contractors to, especially executives, to post content. And I think if you want to stand out in 2024 and beyond, you have to begin to devise a personal branding strategy for your executive, ideally because the executive has the best pulse on the company, where they want to go, how they want to scale it and grow it, the type of culture they have, the type of people they want to attract, and ultimately, obviously, where the company is just headed in general. So for me, I would say that is definitely one of the biggest things and differentiators that any contractor can have, within their own company, outside of the company brand, social media, and the other, marketing activities. I would say that that's probably going to be the highest ROI activity that any contractor can do moving forward.
Yeah, I like that.
I agree with that 100%. Like, people, especially in the construction industry, there's a few big name brands that everybody knows, right? Like the Turners, the DPRs, those big names. But for the most part, there's a whole bunch of regional smaller contractors out there, and like, people don't really care about the companies; they care about the people within the companies. Construction is so oriented, and so if you can get a glimpse at the actual culture through the executives, or through their leadership, or through their project managers, or through their superintendents, or through the people, that's how you're going to pull people into your company. But kind of going back to, you're talking about collaboration, like if you with the marketing and the sales collaborating, but if the marketing is collaborating with the people in the field, on the front line guys and girls, you can really start telling those stories. But also, if you want to take collaboration to kind of a social media strategy, a lot of people say just start posting on LinkedIn, start sharing your thoughts. Like, I don't even, how do I start?
Right.
What I tell a lot of people too is like, get in there, just start commenting on other people's content. start just posting or start commenting, like, but don't say like, great post, I like it, good job, thumbs up, those sort of things. Like, actually have a conversation, use it as a social tool, have the conversation, have the networking. I posted a meme, funny. I posted a meme on LinkedIn last week, and it was like a guy standing in a corner of like a party, and everyone's talking, and he's just sitting there, and he's like, they don't know I'm talking about really cool stuff or something like that. But because if you're just posting and then disappearing, and you're not connecting with the community on LinkedIn, no one's going to care who you are. You got to go out there, you got to mingle. If you don't know where to start, if I make a post, or Jonathan makes a post, or Stacy makes a post, or Chad, like, if you go, they gave you a prompt, right? They gave you a topic. If you have an insight on that, or you have more thoughts on it, expand on it. Leave a thoughtful comment. Expand on what's going on. Like, a lot of people, they can't start because they don't know, where do I start? I don't know what to write about. Well, there's, I can scroll right now and find 30 prompts I can add to. You know what I mean? So, and then you kind of start getting feedback, and you start developing your voice, and then you can take those little comments and say, oh, okay, now I can expand this into a full-blown post. And so that's the fastest way to start if somebody's wanting to start. And then you're kind of talking with the audience instead of talking at them. People get real turned off when people's talking at you. You know what I mean? So anyway,
like so many things in business, marketing is one of those things that if you're not really, really close to it and well studied and researched and practiced in it, it can be a bit of a black box. It's kind of complicated, I think, and as I'm literally like, I'm trying to hang in there with you. I've had Google up a bunch through the course of the conversation, seriously, just looking up a lot of the terms that you're talking about, because I'm not fully up to speed or familiar with a lot of this stuff. But what just kind of came together for me is that we lump all this stuff into this big bucket of marketing, and each one of those things is almost like its own unique discipline, something that and you have to kind of decide whether you want to add it to your mix, like you were saying before, Matt. Why do a newsletter? You got to know what your goals are. Maybe you shouldn't do a newsletter. Maybe that shouldn't be a priority of yours. Maybe it should. You have to know what you're trying to accomplish, and then pick the right marketing tool for the outcome. And one observation that I'm having, and that I've made before, but that you guys are helping to drive home, is that the opportunities that social media particularly creates for us to not just brand or market, but to also create discussion, to create relationships, and to start building connections. That's something I've felt personally and that I've really enjoyed, but that I kind of just happened. It just kind of like I wasn't doing it on purpose per se. But I think that's exactly right. The number of people that I've developed there's no way that we would have on our team just a fantastic, a superstar hire in Matt Verderamo. There's no way that I would know Matt Verderamo, or he would have known me if it weren't for some of our work on social media. So I think it is a worthwhile endeavor. But I also think if you're watching this, you're a contractor, which is our typical audience, and you're kind of thinking, whoa, where do I what do I grab onto here? I think, there's an opportunity. My summary is like, your company needs to be focusing on those three pillars you talked about. Jonathan, what were they again? The three types of content posts?
The people, projects, and purpose.
That's what your company should be posting about, and make sure that you're putting that kind of stuff out there through your website, on your company's LinkedIn page, maybe also on a company's Instagram page. That's kind of like my takeaway there. And then if you're an individual, capitalize on the opportunity to start not just branding or whatever, right? But to start like creating friendships, relationships, interactions on these social media platforms. And I think Matt had an awesome suggestion there, which is like, if you're not sure where to start, engage in other people's stuff and find your voice, find your message through just being a part of the cocktail party, if you will, and then eventually start to find that voice. Those are my sort of takeaways. And as we come to the close of the show, I wonder if there's anything that the two of you would stack on top of that.
I'll just add, I mean, what you're talking about being social media is just, it's opening doors. You met Matt Verderamo. I met Matt Verderamo a couple of years ago through LinkedIn and all that sort of stuff. We've had a couple of phone calls. He's an awesome guy. I would never would have met him, even though he's a Ravens fan, but that's okay. But like last night, I was having a Teams call with a construction technology founder from Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
And like, I'm just a construction guy from Houston. Like, how would I ever talk to somebody?
Well, he's just a construction guy from Abu Dhabi.
Yes. Well, he's in the UK first, but moved there. But yes, yes. But like, how without the internet, and social media, like, how would that ever happen?
Yeah, connection wouldn't have been made, and there's an incredible amount of opportunity there. Any final takeaways that you'd stack on top of that, Jonathan?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is there's this really well known angel investor named Naval Ravikant, and he had a book written about him called The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, and he basically said that there's three forms of leverage. There's capital, which is like being able to finance things. There's code, your ability to code software, and there's content. In my opinion, I don't have either of those two prior to content, so I'm leveraging on. There you go. There we go with the balloons. Yeah. But the thing I will say is, I think content is the biggest way to build leverage for those who don't want to either deploy capital or code, whether it's for your personal construction company or your personal career or whatever it is you're doing. I think the leverage that you have and the doors that content opens in general is arguably one of the best. And I've experienced it myself for my own business, but also too with other connections in the industry that I've had, from afar. So that's what I'll leave you with.
Awesome. Good stuff. Thank you too. We really appreciate you being on. I know, maybe Stacy's got her marketing fix for a little while.
Never.
She's always hankering to talk marketing with all of our guests. It was awesome to have on a couple of pros like yourselves. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
See you soon. All right, Stacy, let's talk a little bit about. Well, yeah, I'm gonna get. So I want to talk a bit about the people who help to enable the growth of our platform here, and those are 4 professional services companies that cater very specifically to the construction industry. First is Marsh McLennan Agency, insurance, bonding. These people, just like everybody I'm about to name, these people are in construction industry pros. Climb inside your business, become problem solvers. Actually, a client of mine right now is engaging with the Marsh McLennan group to help to solve a bonding issue that just recently popped up. And when I heard about it, I'm certain that they're in great hands. So it's a great thing to hear. Sandy Spring Bank. What I would say they always do is think about your business through the lens of kind of through your own lens as a business owner, and try to be your business partner and help you to accomplish your goals. The folks at Sandy Spring Bank are fantastic for the construction industry. Lawrence Law, their team is specifically designed to cater to the small to mid-sized construction company. They are, your kind of on-call everyday attorneys, all the way up to the litigation and when things get rough, you're going to want to have people that you can trust in the industry. And Lawrence Law are those types of folks. And then lastly, we have an accounting firm called Katz Abosch. In addition to doing tax and audit work and preparing financial statements and all that kind of good stuff, they also really are in-depth business advisors for their clients who are highly concentrated in the construction industry. So if you are a construction company and you don't love your accounting firm, this is a company I would strongly endorse you giving them a call. All right. So let's talk a little bit about next week. Coming up, we have Eric Coffey joining us to talk about government contracting. A lot of contractors that I talk to, they'll end up saying something like, well, we don't want to get into federal work, and I'll ask like, why? They have no answer. They have no answer. Their answer is like,
probably,
it's
right?
scary. We haven't done it. We don't know what the hell we're doing in that market and all that kind of stuff. And I think what Eric is coming on to do is, in that period of time, help us to understand how it works, and then help our audience to make their own determination whether government work is something that could potentially fit. When you think about, recessions, and you think about different markets that are struggling and contracting right now, or maybe contracting in 2024, one thing we know is that there's a massive investment that's happening in infrastructure using government dollars.
Yeah.
And that's not going to stop anytime soon. So Eric will help us to navigate that environment. I want to encourage people to visit us at the morninghuddleconstructionshow.com. Check that out. Make sure that you are subscribed to our newsletter. There's an opportunity to do that right there. And also make sure that you're getting access, if you're not joining us live, to the Apple and Spotify and Amazon Music platforms to check out the podcast stream. Stacy, is there anything I've missed?
No, but we'll be announcing our February guest soon. So check that out.
We are very, very fortunate, to have all of our shows booked for every week from now through basically the end of May. And it's a fantastic slate of guests that I'm excited to get into all those conversations. But we are still booking into the fall. So if you or someone has a story about how they are advancing the construction industry, please let us know.
Sounds good.
All right, Stace.
I'll see you next week.
Thank you. Thanks for being the guide today. I needed that.
Sure, it was fun.
Yeah, it was cool. Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Great. See ya.